Hey everyone, Michelle Perry here. I'm an Archer and Olive ambassador and fine artist, creativity coach for creatives and organizational leaders, and I have a passion about growing a lot of my own herbs and teas, and even I'm working my way slowly toward growing a food forest in my backyard in basically a commercial district in Florida. This is a project I've wanted to do for about a year, so I'm so excited to finally make time to sit down and do it. But I'm going to be using this gorgeous Archer and Olive leatherette notebook, and it's empty. We're going to start this project together to create kind of an eclectic garden commonplace book that is a little bit of a garden plan meets a place for me to write down everything I'm learning about what I'm growing, my own observations, and play a little bit like I'm a botanist. I'm not, but sometimes it's kind of fun to put different hats on. And the thing that I love about doing a project like this is that, number one, it gets me out into the outdoors with my hands in the dirt and like really up close and studying my plants and the different things that are going on in my backyard, the different microclimates that are there. And so that's just so good for my mental health. Like if I have a bad day, I just need to go sit under a tree and it helps a lot. But it also is going to help me focus on observing details, which as an artist, as a creative, being able to literally observe and train your brain to notice beauty and to notice the details around us is some of our greatest superpowers for inspiration. So you may be wondering what exactly goes into a commonplace book for the garden. There's so many different options. And when I'm not sure, like I don't want to set the page up exactly right when I'm thinking through it, I'll often use just sticky notes to be able to put down what I think that I want in here. So let's do that together. So I know I'm going to want a 2025 growing plan. And what would be in my growing plan would be what I'm growing, why I'm growing it, where I'm growing it, basically like a garden map. And then I'm going to want botanical notes. There's a type of notebook that has been around for thousands of years, basically. It's called a materia medica. And basically that is a commonplace notebook of sorts. It's like a place where notes would be taken, observations, recipes for those that were trained in herbalism or herbal medicine, which I am not. But I want to basically compile the different research that I've been doing and put it in one place and make it beautiful so that I have it to reference. So I'm going to take you through what goes into my unofficial botanical notes. I want to take you through my documentation process, introduce you to one of my favorite herbs that is just growing all over my garden, which is Tulsi or holy basil, and it's a little power-packed herb. And then I also have a sprig of lavender here, and I just want to show you a couple of different ways to incorporate that into your notebook. So let's get started. I'm not going to do the 2025 growing plan because I just haven't researched everything yet. I'm not quite ready to go there. But what I want to start out with this is basically creating a template, thinking through what do I want to include with my botanicals, illustrations and notes and thoughts and research. And I'm giving myself space here to be able to do a growing plan and a like a table of contents roughly for the template. For basically, this is kind of the idea I want to repeat each time is I am going to grab my ruler, this little rectangle here, to be for a sketch or a light watercolor gouache kind of rendering from life. I'm not looking up what holy basil looks like and what botanical illustrations are out there on Pinterest. I have it in my garden, so I want to practice my observational skills. And it's a way to really begin to learn to see the world in greater detail. And I think so often, I know for me at least, I'm tied to my phone. I run my own business, and so I have a ton to do with that, and it's a lot. So when you've got a lot going on, it's really easy to not spend the time to observe the world around you in a way that can be really powerful and really meaningful. So let's jump in with, I am going to grab my scissors. I'm going to snip a sprig here. This just came from my garden. Okay, so let me introduce you to my friend Tulsi, or holy basil. You'll notice, like most plants in the mint family, you've got these leaves that grow out on either stem, like they grow on either side of the stem. The stem is slightly rectangular, and when I put this up really close so you can see it, because this is so cool. I'm going to get this up here really close so you can see it. Do you see these little itty bitty leaves that are starting right here? That's because this is a growth node, right? And so the growth starts right there. So I know when I want to trim this, like I could cut the stem here and then stick this in water and it would begin to propagate. It would grow another like sprig of holy basil or some roots. I could put it in the ground. It'd grow into its own bush. Holy basil, look at the leaves, and they're jagged. They're not smooth. They've got like a very defined pattern. And you can see the flower. And then if you wish you could feel this. This isn't squishy like a floral stem. This is a woody herbaceous, so herb. It's woody, and the plant actually, it grows wood at the bottom after it like matures. And they're very, very hardy, which really works for me because life gets busy, and let's face it, sometimes I forget to water things. So after I've taken time to observe this up close, I'm going to draw just a little sketch right here. And I'm not going to worry about making it perfect. Just going to draw some of my observations very lightly. And we notice that it has like little here to remind me that this is growing out little baby leaves. And we know that when I look at the leaf pattern, I see that it's got these different veins, and I see that they're alternating. They're not right across from each other. They alternate up the stem. So I may come out here draw the rough shape of a leaf. And you can go in and add some jagged edges. When you're learning about what plants are what, I also love foraging, no surprise. It's really important to study the details because there are a lot of plants that look similar, and if you don't know what you're looking for, if you're foraging, you can get in trouble that way. So it's really important to understand the details. And when I look at the details of this leaf, I see the veins. They're not going up to the point, they're going up to the part in between. And they alternate. Not the most gorgeous drawing I've ever done in my life, but that's okay. It doesn't have to be perfect. It's more about the experience of learning about the plant than it is creating perfect art that someone's going to want to frame on their wall. It's a great way to study so that you can do that. And I haven't had any training. I haven't been to art school. I did have the pleasure of watching my dad draw everything growing up, so that definitely left an impression. He was very artistic. But the thing that I've noticed is the more that I take time to just be in the moment and draw, sketch the world around me, it's such a calming, mindful, grounding kind of experience. So I'm gonna here, and so there's my sketch. I'm gonna note jagged edges, veins meet at in between. I'm sure there's a botanical name for this, but if I use fancy names, I won't remember probably what they are. So just describe it. Jagged edges, the veins meet in between points. And alternate. And I'm gonna, these are good. This is kind of my observations from here. So this is also where I would propagate, and I'm just gonna draw little scissors. That's where I would propagate right there, because this is a growing node. That's my term for it. So botanists, don't come at me. I'm making my terms up so I know what I'm writing about. So that's that. So fun. Now, this is something that also, if you're like, but I don't draw and I really want to capture this and I don't want to take a camera to it. I'm going to show you a trick. Archer and Olive has permanent black ink. This is just plain newsprint wrapping paper. I'm gonna pick this seems like a really pronounced leaf, so one that has the best shape. Here's my pad, and it's just the right size. Get on your fingers, that's why. I have parchment paper. Oh, that's kind of a fun effect. Now I'm gonna take it. I'm gonna put it on the newsprint. Okay, let's see how it does. That's pretty amazing. So what we can do is if you try it on newsprint and you get one that you really like, I'm just gonna come out here. And you don't have to be able to draw at all to make something like this. It's super approachable. Now I want to paste this in, and I'm gonna actually tape it down using this Archer and Olive washi tape that couldn't be any more perfect because it's herbs. And there that is. And this looks like it hasn't fully dried, and it would be very easy to smear it. So again, to pick up any of the extra residue. Scientific name. Family. Okay, I did not go over exactly where like the penciled words were. And that's okay, because I'm gonna, now letting that dry, I'm going to erase the pencil marks. The thing that I love about this paper is that it makes that super easy to do. And if you use a pigment fine liner and you let it dry completely, it shouldn't smear. Okay, so let's color this in just a little bit. I'm using Winsor & Newton gouache. You don't need to use artist grade gouache at all. You can easily get student gouache. And if you're unfamiliar with gouache, it is basically opaque watercolor paint. And I already have some greens that are sort of similar mixed up on my palette. I'm not going for exactness here. And you don't want to put too much water in it, because this isn't watercolor paper, but it will take quite a lot because it is very thick. You just don't want to do layers and layers and lots of water, which isn't typical for gouache work anyway. Come in here and just add a little bit more. That looks pretty good. I'm liking that. Now, what we're gonna do to get the color that is appropriate for kind of a burgundy purple. I'm going to come in and I'm going to grab some indigo blue. And that's nice. And then I'm going to come over here and I'm going to grab Spectrum Red. Okay, we're not there yet. We need a lot more red. Grab some more red. There we go. That's more. Now we need some more blue. And you just kind of keep on playing with it until you get kind of a burgundy purple, which I think we did it. So I'm gonna come in here. And even the leaves, stems are purple. Such a pretty plant. I'm just gonna come in here. Now, if you don't have paint or you're not comfortable with it, with using paint, you can also use markers. And Archer and Olive has a phenomenal set. This is just my way of how I store them. Like the calligraphs would be perfect for this. I am using kind of the same burgundy purplish shade. And I'm gonna go ahead and get the blend tip right here. And I am just gonna dab. And you can see this works beautifully. And there you have it. That is a template that I will be using for cataloging what I'm growing in my garden and learning more about it. I hope you have found this helpful, and I'm going to include this template in a downloadable that you can grab from the corresponding blog that goes along with this video. And I'm just so glad you're here. I hope that you enjoyed this, and I'll see you in the next video.